welcome to another Wednesday live stream. An amazing time I just had with my team, 25 global leaders around the world, and we were doing the law of environment, right? How important it is the environment that provides the right soil, that nourishes you, climate that sustains you. And we just had an amazing time sharing. So we are on week three. Wow, can you imagine how fast time is going? So we started with where am I? So we started with a couple of options, a couple of laws there, and where am I and where am I going, right? So in terms of knowing where you are, what's your current, please, there are links in this group where you can actually participate, and they're all recordings. It's all taken care of. So you can join in because there are people still joining in, even if it's week three, because you will have access for your life. So you'll have lifetime access, so you don't have to worry about anything. And you can watch it at your own pace, recordings, and there are quizzes. So there is growth, there's a workbook as well. It's all doing it at your own pace, but also growing. And out of that, I got a lot of people were asking me, hey, Joby, I've got a lot of dreams. I have a dream that I want to start a business. I have a dream that I want to start a non-for-profit. So I thought, let's bring it together and let's do a small session on putting your dream to the test, which is based on the book by John C. Maxwell, right? So that's why I thought it's really right that we use the book that he's written as a good stepping stone for your dreams and putting it to the test. So what is your dream, right? So that is, and will you achieve it in your lifetime? So I'm sure you hope you will, but will you actually do it? Give yourself 1 in 5, 1 in 100, or how can you tell whether your chances are good or whether your dream will always remain exactly that, a dream? So that's really, really important. So you need to now think to yourself and ask, are you willing to put your dream to the test? And say to yourself, I am willing, right? So with the right tools to go through the dream test process. So I work with you, right? So upfront, from the very start, we cannot cover everything. This book has like 10 questions, right? But we will go through the reasons people don't identify their dreams. And then we will go into 2 of the 10 questions on how to test your dream. Because again, I'm just being all, for time that's allocated, that I don't want to take it over. But definitely, if you have any questions or you want to personally reach out to me to go through those 10 questions, please feel free to reach out to me in person, and I'm happy to help you in that process, right? So I'm sure you know about uh, John C. Maxwell, that he's the #1 New York Times best-selling author, coach, and speaker. And he's sold more than 26 million books in 50 languages. So he's an internationally respected leadership expert, and whose philosophy is very simple, that everything rises and falls on leadership to pursue. So let's face it, many are encouraged to dream, whereas others have dreams but lose hope and set them aside. So the question is, do you have a dream? So I'm asking you that question, Andrew. We've just started. So do you have a dream? And we're going to be putting your dream to the test. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's get started. The 5 common reasons for not identifying dreams. So there are, you could say, #1 is discouragement. So discouragement, the hindrance, right? The hindrance by past disappointments. So disappointment is the gap between expectation and reality, right? So the disappointment is the gap between expectation and reality, and failure is a price we must pay for success. Failure is a price we must pay for success. And habit of settling for average. So the habit, we just used to the habit of settling for average, because dreams require a person to stretch, to go beyond average, that you can't reach for a dream and remain confidence and pursue those dreams of for those who don't. So sometimes confidence is the one who separates the people who dream and the people who don't. So that's all about confidence. And some people lack in the imagination to dream. It's about the lack of imagination. That imagination is a soil that brings a dream to life. That no matter what our age or condition, there are still untapped possibilities within us and new beauty waiting to be born. And it's never too late to dream. So that's the main part. So we have to have that imagination to dream. Let's dive into one of those. So I want now you think, okay, now you're thinking, okay, what should you do now to propel your dream forward and making your dream come true? So these are the 10 steps that we go through the book. In the book, Put Your Dream to the Test. It's ownership, clarity, reality, passion, pathway, people, cost, tenacity, fulfillment, significance. So today we will cover ownership and cost, right? Because again, like I said, we don't have time to go through all the 10. But if you want to go through all the 10, please reach out to me and I'm happy to go through with you in detail. So moving on to ownership, right? Are you living your dream or the dream someone else has for you? So the question, are you living your dream or the dream someone else has for you? So one of these steps is teaching you that ownership, that you should. So have you heard you should be a dash, or have you ever thought I wanted to be a dash, but my parents wanted me to be a dash, and I didn't want to disappoint them. So for example, you could say, oh, you should be a lawyer, or have you ever thought I always wanted to be a pilot, but my parents want me to be engineer and I didn't want to disappoint them, right? So that's the thing, that what has it been for you in your life, that when the dream is right for the person and the person is right for the dream, the two cannot be separated from each other. So that's the beauty about it. And for something to truly be your dream, you need to see the possibility it represents and you need to own it, because ownership is the first vital step to fulfilling a dream. So for me in my life, I had a dream of creating a personal development leadership organization where I go and train people, and not only train people, that they can go and start training as well. So I had a that I wanted to start, and this was a discipleship methodology of Jesus, and and that's what I've done. So through 8 years of self development, that I was able to put my dream to the test of ownership, and I started with ownership, that I need to own it, that I'm going to be living my dream and I'm not going to be living someone else's dream. So for me, that was really, really important. So that's when I feel ownership is the first vital step to fulfilling a dream. So uh, put your dream, whatever your dream is, right? So even I know Andrew's Rise Up organization that has gone through that. He wants to be the modern day tent maker. It's a dream that he had. And I'm sure there would be a lot of hurdles and challenges for him to achieve that dream. And it's still not an easy walk, but still he's he's owning it and he has that ownership of his own dream. That is a vital step to fulfill the dream. So now let's discuss about how to take ownership of your dream, right? So be willing to bet on yourself, that you may succeed if nobody else believes in you, but you will never succeed if you don't believe in yourself. I'll repeat that. You may succeed if nobody else believes in you, right? You'll still succeed, but you will never succeed if you don't believe in yourself. So be willing to bet on yourself. That is how you take ownership of your life. Lead your life instead of accepting your life. So leading versus accepting. So making the right decisions and managing those decisions daily. So you need to take ownership of your life. So every decision, every right decision, and managing those decisions daily. Because the power of choice is the greatest power than a person possesses. The power of choice is the greatest power that a person possesses. So that choice of you accepting and managing those decisions daily makes a big difference. And love what you do and do what you love. So successful people, those who see and seize their dreams, love what they do and do what they love. Those inferior, you feel, so it works both ways. So you need to stop comparing yourself with anyone. And when you stop comparing yourself with others, you feel empowered. You're not running a race. You're just doing, walking in your purpose and your assignment. So that is really, really important. And success is doing the best you can with what you have wherever you start in life. It doesn't matter where or when you start in life, but it's you. Success is doing the best you can with what you have. So believe in your vision. That is important. You need to bet on yourself, but you need to believe in your vision for the future. Even when others don't understand you, they might not understand what are you talking about. A modern day tech is that all about. They might not get you, but realize that you are not an accident and you are here for a reason, right? Everything, there's a divine time, and the time that you are here is for a reason. So if success is not on your own terms, if it looks good to the world but doesn't feel good in your soul, it is not success at all. So if success is not on your terms, if it looks good to the world but doesn't feel good in here, in your soul, and then that means it's not success at all. And the potential that exists within us is limitless and largely untapped. So when you think of limits, you create them. So that's the thing. So when you think of limits, you create them, right? And no limitations, right? So when you take ownership of your dream, you're committing to your dream, right? That's your dream. And I'm sure whoever is watching it live or you're watching it recorded, that you have a dream. As and while we are going through this talk, you have a dream in your head. So that dream, you're now going to, what is your level of commitment? On a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, it would be nice to have, and 10 being, I lose sleep at night because I want it so bad. So if you're less than 8, you really need to discuss and decide if your dream is a business or a hobby. Because if it's less than 8, you need to think maybe it's not a business, it's just a hobby. But ask yourself, what would I do if I had no limitations? Or what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? The first step in being able to answer is to take ownership of your dream and prepare to start moving forward. So that was all about ownership, right? Now we're going to be talking about the cost of your dream. So, so we just talked about owning your dream. So now the next of testing your dream, yeah, we're putting your dream to the test, is the cost of the dream. So now I'm not talking about dollars and cents, right? So turn and you need to think about, are you willing to pay the price for your dream? Because dreams are personal. And many people avoid that question. They avoid the cost and they would avoid their dream. But what about you? Pay for the dream. Believer of the dream over to the buyer of the dream. And the price must be paid sooner than you think. So, dream believers are in abundance. There are so many people who believe in dreams, but dream buyers are rare. They are the ones who sacrifice their heart, their soul, they sacrifice blood, sweat, tears to make their dream come true. The price will be higher than you expect. So, never once in my conversations with successful people have I heard the words, getting to the top was much easier than I anticipated. You never hear it from any successful person saying that getting to the top was so easy. It was just a walk in the park. Because the price must be paid more than once. The statement used to describe this process is you've got to give up to go up. You got to give up, even I say to grow up. You have to give up. So that's sometimes cost that you would have. Dealing with criticism from people who matter. So everyone who pursues a dream is criticized. Everyone who pursues a dream. There's no one in this world who had a dream and wasn't criticized. You have to learn to ignore it. Professional athletes do. So just imagine anytime they get onto the stadium, some will be booed, some will be celebrated, but that is their life. And that's our job. So if you're getting into the ring and playing, be assured there will be people who criticize you. So paying the price of overcoming your fears. So all dreams are outside our comfort zone. So that's where you're paying the price of overcoming your fears. All dreams are outside your comfort zone. Or we would have already have realized that dream. So leaving that zone is a price we must pay to achieve them. Leave that comfort zone, we'll pay a price which we must pay to achieve them. And that is the only way we can grow is leaving our comfort zone and paying the price of hard work. So when it comes to success, there are no escalators to ride. You must work hard and smart to achieve your goals. So paying the price of hard work. When it comes to success, there's no escalators to success, right? You must work hard and smart to achieve your goals. So what is your dream worth? So now, if the cost requires you to sacrifice what is most important to you, your values, your family, your integrity, it's not worth it. Dream a new dream that will not cause you to compromise. The dream that doesn't compromise your values, that doesn't compromise your family, that doesn't compromise your integrity is the dream that you need to figure out. So if you're unsure about your answer to that cost question, you need to count the cost. So seek out someone with experience in your area of interest, right? So for example, if I'm looking to start, construction or architecture business, I would reach out to Andrew. So who's part of our business, part of our community. If I'm looking to start an AI business, I would reach out to Chris Francis. If I'm trying to reach out and be a public speaker, I would reach out to someone who's a public speaking coach. And I would and ask them to give me information and advice about what it takes to achieve success in that field. Because that's a question that nobody asks. And then you need to ask yourself, how much am I willing to pay for my dream? And what am I not willing to pay? What are you not ready to pay? And what are you willing to pay? So remember, some prices are too high, right? And that's why it is really, really important, because in my life as well, I had opportunities that I had to pay personal. So for example, I had a client who was interstate, and because of that I had to go and look after the client, and at that time it was my niece's baptism. So I had to miss my niece's baptism just because I had to go with this client, and they couldn't shift the dates. So, family moments. So you will end up paying the price, which will be high. But the question is your dream worth it? And that's the question. So how long it takes depends on you. So the amount of time will be affected by how self-aware you are, honest you are, about your strengths and weaknesses, and how much time and energy you already have given to this subject in the past, right? So don't forget, the bigger the dream, the higher is the cost. And if you're willing to pay what is likely to cost, you need to change your dream or change what you're willing to pay, right? So either you need to change your dream or willing to what you're willing to pay. So it's one thing to have a dream, it's another to do the things needed to achieve it. So please don't leave your dream to chance. The 10 powerful yet straightforward questions asked in this book, which is Put Your Dream to the Test, will increase your odds of your dream becoming a reality. Because I read this book. So the first book I read of John C. Maxwell was the 15 Laws of Growth, which I'm running the challenge on. And then I read Put Your Dream to the Test. Because once I read it, I knew that I wanted to uh, get into people, leaders, and make. And this Put Your Dream to the Test will increase the odds of your dream becoming a reality. And you must engage in that process. So, how long it takes depends on you. The amount of time will be affected by how self aware you are, how honest you are about your strengths and weaknesses, and your history, and how much time and energy you've already given to the subject in the past. But isn't your dream worth it? So, you need to say, my dream is worth it. It is really, really important, right? So I want you to dare to dream, prepare the dream, wear the dream, repair the dream, and share the dream. This is what you need to do and you need to work on, right? So I really want you to spend. And then the last slide over here is about, so thank you for making growth a